Whether you are just starting out, looking for something new, or just seeing what's out there, the Gamasutra job board is the place where game developers move ahead in their careers. Gamasutra's job board is the most diverse, most active, and most established board of its kind in the video game industry, serving companies of all sizes, from indie to AAA. Here are just some of the many positions being advertised right now. If you are a recruiter looking for talent, you can also post jobs here. Location: Burbank, California. Insomniac Games is looking for an audio designer to create, edit, and implement game-ready audio of the highest quality for AAA projects. They will work closely with the audio and development teams. They will maintain a high level of quality and consistency of assets throughout development. Location: Kelowna, British Columbia, Canada. Our software developers drive, innovate, and execute engineering tasks on our games. You will support the technical vision and implementation of the Hyper Hippo games to help us evolve and take our game to new heights, growing our player base and helping create new features that continue to bring our fans back for more, scaling our games into the top of the charts. You will have an opportunity to ensure our games and features maintain optimal performance, continue to engage our players around the globe. Location: Ottawa, Ontario, Canada. Under the direction of the Chair, Media Studies, the professor is responsible for facilitating and guiding learning, and providing an effective learning environment for all students. The professional responsibilities include the design, revision, updating of courses, the teaching of assigned courses, and the provision of academic leadership. Location: San Jose, California. FoxNext Games is looking for an experienced narrative designer to translate the vision of the creative director into in-game story and playable events, develop fresh and innovative stories, settings, and characters in the alien science fiction universe. Let collaboration with other writers and designers own the story bible and narrative vision for the project. Create deep and engaging characters to populate the world, and script in-game dialogue to bring them to life, and mark as a member of its team. Location: Redwood City, California. Crystal Dynamics is looking for an outstanding, talented, and experienced FX artist. The successful FX artist will have experience with particle editing, texture creation, and real-time materials, and will have both a strong creative and technical background. This FX artist will be able to conceptualize, present, and execute ideas within a schedule, while actively participating in technical and artistic problem solving, and will be able to partner with multiple disciplines to meet project-specific needs. He or she will be able to quickly understand custom toolsets and deliver assets within the confines of real-time engine constraints and programming demands. Bunny ended its partnership with Activision ahead of schedule last month, taking ownership of the publishing rights, a destiny to end the process. Now, in Activision Blizzard's quarterly earnings call, transcribed by Seeking Alpha, Activision Co-Cody Johnson has shed some light on the breakup from Activision's point of view, calling attention to ownership woes and missed financial expectations that led up to the mutual decision to call the partnership off. He says that Activision itself was showing concern about Destiny's future, given a few other factors, and when the company learned that Bunny was willing to acquire the publishing rights for the game, a deal was forged. Johnson said that, before that point, Activision was concerned about ongoing Destiny support, tying up one of our scarcest resources, which is developer time. since it had internal teams supplementing Bungie's own development work. On top of that, Johnson says that the Destiny intellectual property rights themselves were owned by Bonnie, not Activision, which makes it difficult for the company to boost the franchise in the way it does with properties it itself owns. Controlling the underlying IP gives us the chance to move with new experiences and new engagement models, which also come with new revenue streams and of course, structurally higher economics when you own the IP, says Johnson. At the same time, Johnson says that Destiny underperformed in the long run and was not meeting Activision's financial expectations. He notes that this occurred despite Destiny 2 being highly critically acclaimed, high-quality content. The company, he explains, did not foresee the game being one of its big earners in the upcoming fiscal year. Johnson's earlier comments about developer time being one of Activision's scarcest resources is something reflected through Activision Blizzard's latest earnings report. The company announced that it would be reducing its workforce by an overall 8%, something that will be accomplished by reducing certain non-development and administrative-related costs across our business, in order to invest more in development for our biggest internally owned franchises. That 8% reduction ultimately sees an estimated 800 employees laid off, according to a report from Nikkei. One translated from Japanese by Gamasutra. Nintendo is considering launching a new version of the Switch this year that trims back some features to lower cost and emphasize portability. There's no mention in the report of exactly what features Nintendo would drop in order to slim down its handheld home console. But Nikkei says that the company has spoken to multiple suppliers and game developers about the possibility of a smaller Switch that could release as early as this year. Just looking back to the many variations of the Nintendo 3DS, it's not completely unbelievable that Nintendo would consider launching an alternative version, falling into the system's portable nature. On top of that, the rumor somewhat lines up with the Wall Street Journal report from last October that said Nintendo was looking at launching an updated Switch in 2019, presented by Ilphonic. Ilphonic, the studio that developed the No. 3 game on PlayStation Store. A 2017 Friday the 13th, the game, F13, is ramping up production on several unannounced projects, according to leaders at the studio. This led to the opening of a new studio location in Tacoma in November 2018, in addition to their headquarters in Golden, Co. Having offices in the greater Seattle and Denver metropolitan areas is really helping us attract some legends in the game industry and a batch of fresh talent to the team, says CEO Charles Brangard. Currently there are 16 positions open on their website www.ilphonic.com. Ilphonic was founded 12 years ago, this November, by computer scientist and musician Charles Brangard. From the beginning, Ilphonic set out to leverage advances in technology to create games that rival AAA quality at a third of the price and development time, cutting their teeth working on games such as Dead Alliance, Star Citizen, Evolve, Armored Warfare, Crysis 3, and Nexus. It was only a matter of time before they were given the task of leading development. A title like F13, Friday the 13th, the game, CEO Charles Brangard says. After F13, a lot of proposals were landing in our laps, and we had to be really selective in what to pursue. We needed to grow, while at the same time maintaining the open studio culture that made us who we are today. Ilphonic has picked its projects and planned its growth in a manner that is calculated for the long-term future. meaning they want to hire and retain talent, and not expand and downsize with projects. Just about everyone who was there from the beginning is still there, which says a lot about the company. If FoxNext has learned anything over the last decade, it's that great games come from a great team, and they have to preserve their open studio culture. It is probably by far the most exciting time in the history of the company, says FoxNext president and technology startup veteran Anthony Fazero. We have been very careful to preserve our company identity as an independent studio, as we have grown and have a great working culture across multiple locations. He added, people coming to work at FoxNext from smaller studios are learning quickly from the experts, and those from larger studios are finally getting to work with smaller teams and shorter development cycles. There is something to be said for giving people the trust to make decisions and the support needed to make it a reality. It also helps that the team are huge fans of the projects that we are working on.